Hi.
Hi, what's up?
Hi. Turn your camera the other way around for the live
Okay.
because you're somehow.
Oh, sorry. Mm, it shows like you're the one who's upside down.
No, turn it on a portrait position.
Portrait.
Yeah.
Oh, not landscape.
No,
Okay.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah. Hi.
Hi, welcome to our live session today.
Thank you for having me.
You look good. Sorry.
Random Saturday. Yeah. We're just staying in. How is Austria?
Austria is nice as long as the weather is nice, the sun is shining, all is good.
So it's gloomy out in Lagos today. It's always sunny and all that, but today it's gloomy. It's been raining. This is the rainy season. But even when it's raining, it's actually really hot. So
Really?
quite yes, it gets hot. Like right now, I have to use an AC or a fan. If
Oh,
I
how
didn't,
how is how the how high are the temperatures when it's hot?
let me check on my. It's
Approximately.
81 degrees on my phone.
How many degrees?
See, can you see?
81
And it's raining.
Fahrenheit.
It's raining.
Wow, that's crazy.
So what I love about Lagos is that even when it's raining, you can go out and dance in the rain. Or you know how in Nairobi, if it's raining, you'll get pneumonia. Here we still wear shorts. You know. I think it's because Lagos is like the beach. Okay. Where we live is the island, right? And you know the way island temperatures are like. So
Ah,
if
okay.
you should think about maybe Mombasa.
Mombasa, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mombasa can get really, really warm
Exactly.
and yeah.
So the
Okay,
only thing to
so
worry about is maybe your hair.
sorry?
Maybe your hair and getting wet.
Yeah,
But the rain has never stopped us from doing anything.
yeah. Even in Salzburg, it rains a lot. Like it's always, almost always raining, and you have to do activities. Otherwise, you'd sit inside the whole time.
Ah, okay. Nice to see we actually color coordinated. Do you know I almost wore my earrings that are like the ones you're wearing and they're in red? Can you
Really?
imagine? I have the exact same pair. I almost wore it. And they're red and black. The same exact pair.
Wow.
Then I changed.
Okay, so can you please introduce yourself?
Okay. So my name is Pauline. Going by Pauline Nisi, and I'm a
Mm-hmm.
Kenyan who moved to Nigeria for many reasons. The reasons being both work for my professional, but most importantly for marriage. I got married to an amazing, amazing Nigerian, and together we have many children. You know, in Africa we don't count children. Yeah, and Marceline has been very interesting. I mean, it's been an interesting friendship that we have with Marceline. So, I mean, we realize we have quite a number of similarities, especially because now we moved away from home. So the more we talk, we realize that as much as she's in Europe and I'm in Africa, but we kind of just face almost similar challenges in varying degrees. So, I'm happy to be here. I have a channel called Polynesi. You can check it out.
Yeah, I'll leave her link on the description box. You guys can check out her channel and subscribe to her. So, Pauline and I, we met online. This is crazy because very many friendships, you don't get them online, but we met online and we've been chatting a lot. And in 2017, we met in person when I came to Nairobi. And
Mm.
it's a good friendship, I can say.
Oh,
So
yes, it
later,
is. And yeah, maybe we should even tell them that we've done business in thousands of dollars. Can you imagine? Oh, we've even done. It's so interesting how friendships can move.
yeah, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So,
Oh,
yeah,
or am I lying? Like it's so interesting that sometimes you can. It doesn't matter how you meet someone. If you gel, you gel. You know, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's true, it's true. It's true,
Mm.
and I'm glad that I met you as a friend.
Me too. Me too. I've learned so much from you.
Yeah, So today we are going to discuss a very hot topic. Like many Africans, they relocate not only to Europe, to USA, and other outside countries, but also within Nigeria. I mean, within African countries. For example, you moved out of Kenya, you went to Nigeria, and you've settled there. You have a family. Can you tell us a little bit of your story and what made you move to Nigeria?
Yeah. So quite interestingly, even before I got married, I had a job offer in Nigeria, right? That was around 2016, 2017.
Uh-huh.
So the thing about my job is that it's contractual. I'm in development, right? I'm in the area of sustainability, and I work with a lot of development partners, governments, private entities. So I work at that intersection. So you realize that a lot of like now projects are not just being funded by, let's say, one entity. People are not, public-private partnerships, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if USAID is funding something, they need to ensure that the projects that they are funding are sustainable, and that's why I come in as a sustainability specialist, right? So that means
Okay.
I've worked on projects all over the world, like across with teams all over the world. So if it's a UK aid funded, then you have colleagues that are spread across the world. And if the project is multi-country, that means you have people from Zambia, Zimbabwe, Swaziland, Timbuktu, wherever, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I come and did a project here in Nigeria. Then I was like, okay, the money was really good. But I was like, it was a 1 year because I was just coming to ensure that the frameworks are correct. And
Mm-hmm.
then, like, do I want to uproot my whole life for 1 year? You know, at that
Yeah.
particular time, I was in a space where I was so tired. I'd been working for many, many years, and I was so tired. I was taking a sabbatical, if you remember. So
Mm-hmm.
just taking things easy. And I was like, no, not really. But then also around that same time, my husband and I started talking, right? So it was long distance. So what happened is that because of my work, I was awarded as a Mandela Washington Fellow in 2014 by Barack Obama. This hand has shaken.
Yeah, yeah. I remember you posted it.
Yes, so we were in the same network with my husband. So he had been watching me, right? And
Mm-hmm.
because we're in the same area of work, he had just been watching. Then that 2017, he now said, I'm coming to Kenya and I want to talk to you. There's something very important I want to tell you. So he came, and that's when we started courting towards marriage, right?
Okay.
So now I was like, okay, now that it's a good reason to actually move to Nigeria, because it's not just for love, but I can actually expand my reach in West Africa, right? Because
Yeah.
when you have proven experience that you can work and live in a particular region, it also helps your career.
Yeah.
So it's not like I would not have just moved for marriage, but it actually also helped in that aspect. So that's how I found myself moving to Nigeria. Nigeria is the gateway to West Africa, just like the way Kenya is the gateway to East Africa.
Yeah.
So, and I've been thriving in all ways.
I can see. You've been there for 5 years or longer, right?
Yes, almost six now. Almost, yeah.
Wow, that's such a long time, but time flies by so fast.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so people are moving due to relationships, due to looking for greener pastures,
Yeah.
due to job. Like me, I came to learn German, and then afterwards I wanted to study, and I got into school, finished study, and I don't feel like moving back home actually.
You must be a citizen by now. They should, right?
Yes, I am. I wasn't willing to give back my Kenyan passport, but the Kenyan embassy in Austria, they don't help you with anything. Like when the new passport came, I wanted
Yeah.
to apply for it, and they were telling me that you have to go back home to apply for
Mhm.
this passport. So, I
Wow.
had to take a holiday to go back home. And then I went back home, and then the processing, I had 4 weeks. And processing everything, 4 weeks was not even enough. So, you
Wow.
go to the offices, you fight with them, you do this, you do that, and nothing is really working. So I'm like, why am I even doing this? Because by then
Mm.
I would have even be an Austrian citizen already. So I was like, okay, I'm
I don't
just
think
gonna
they,
give up because
I don't think they understand what it means to go back home. The cost. It's not just the ticket. When you
yeah,
plan home, the costs are. In fact, the ticket is the smallest cost when you really think about it.
yeah,
Because think of your time cost. You have to think of all the shopping. You have to think of, for example, your movement. And then when you go there, you have to see people. You have to
Yeah.
do. And then, like you said, those 4 weeks are not even enough to finish processing, especially with all the drama that's going on with the whatever passport place. Now,
Yeah.
I think this is where we start the conversation. I'm really disappointed at your embassy because can you imagine our consular actually processes our documents for us and we're in Nigeria?
Really?
Yes. Actually, I'm telling you, we have one of the best consulars. It's called Nick Lenengetai. I mean, that man is amazing. Just last month, we had a gathering for Labor Day, right? So we usually come together as Kenyans whenever maybe
Mm.
public holidays or on whatever. Do you know he
Yeah.
actually issued a passport to someone who was there and he had like another three?
Wow.
Our birth certificates for our children, for example, if you have a child here, right?
Yeah.
And there's a special, okay, you don't get the same birth certificate as everyone else, but you get as like it's the process is a bit different, yeah. Do you know he
Hmm.
processes it for us?
Really?
You.
Wow. That's crazy because I remember I was looking for a good conduct certificate,
Mhm.
and the good conduct certificate, it's valid for only 3 months.
Yeah.
So I went to the embassy, and then they were like, no, you can't do it here. You need somebody to process everything home, and then you can bring it, and then we stamp it, and then like the process is it's so tiresome. So by the time I'm getting the papers here, they're almost over 3 months deal. So when you take it to the offices,
Mhm.
they almost won't accept it because it's over 3 months.
Do you
So
know for even like if it's renewals, because you don't need the biometrics for renewals, imagine he does everything for you. You just go do
wow.
your and then the staff will come back. Like it just tells you this thing is ready. Imagine, and we're in Africa and we're in Nigeria, and you people, I thought
I'm
people in Europe.
amazed because not only in Austria, but also, many countries in Europe, they don't have an embassy. So they
Mm,
had to come either to Austria or Germany. And the people
mm.
in Berlin, they're complaining it's the same issues.
No, but I'm saying it's quite disappointing when you really think about it because I mean, immigration is immigration, right?
Yeah.
So the same employer that has employed our consular is the same employer that has employed your own. So why are they not? You understand what I'm saying? They should be able to do the same services that you guys. But I think also it depends on the person. I think also in your profession. I'm not saying that your consulars are bad, but ours is amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's true the way you're saying. It depends on the person.
Because I know I won't say which country, but yeah, many years ago, let me just say in Washington D.C. back in the day, because they have changed hey, the way you'd imagine that when you're in the US and you go to to your embassy, there's a particular no. I'm telling you the best services, and I've been to different countries. I've been South Africa, I've been wherever.
Yeah.
I am shocked at how well the consular and the ambassador. But unfortunately, our last ambassador passed on. We have a new incoming ambassador, right? I haven't met that one yet. But our former ambassador was also really amazing. He passed on was it last year or last year, but one. Imagine.
Oh, that's bad. Yeah, but maybe the new one will also be good. Hopefully
Yes,
for you.
we're looking forward to, because of the elections, there was, I think, a bit of delay in the postings. You know how it is. But the consular had been holding serious fort. And can I tell you something? Our consular actually handles 17 countries. 17, not just Nigeria.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
Our consular, seriously, it's a list of 17 countries. I should read them out for you. But Benin next doors, this, yes,
And
in
how
this
does
region.
he manage to do so good work when having so much countries?
And he has a very lean team because he's a very good friend. So sometimes you just go to the office and see him. He has a very lean team. Lean. When I'm saying
Wow.
lean, like I don't think I've ever met more than 4 people working with him.
Wow, that's nice. And it always comes from up.
Yeah.
If the leader is good and good to the people following him, then the whole team is going to be good. But if the leader is not good, then you can forget about it.
Yeah. And also the thing is that he's also the one who does his office does the processing for the visas for anybody wanting to go to Kenya. And there has not been any
Oh,
In fact, I've never heard of any people do the e-citizen thing. There has to be a human person that also, you know.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Exactly. So his office does amazing, amazing. We are very well represented. You.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
unfortunate, but anyway, I don't have to deal with them anymore, except for when I'm applying for a visa. It's crazy. I have to apply for a visa when going back home. It's sad actually, because I'm not a Kenyan citizen anymore. Yeah, anyway.
Okay, I'm losing you. I don't know if it's my internet or yours.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. I can. I
Okay,
can.
maybe the internet was going a bit
Yeah.
crazy.
Mhm. So yeah.
Okay,
So So the other thing I wanted to ask you, because Kenyans can have dual citizenship, doesn't Austria give you that option of maintaining double citizenship, or you have to?
no, it doesn't. And if one country doesn't, then you can't have both of them.
Wow. Okay. All
Unfortunately.
right. So from now on, you're not a Kenyan.
I'm not.
Anyway, by is it what do you call it? Naturalization? Or I don't know. Whatever you call. What is the process that made you an Austrian now? What can you call it?
I didn't get the question right.
So of course, by birth you're Kenyan, right?
Yeah.
But is it naturalization that made you an Austrian or what? What's the process?
Mm,
What's the name of the
don't
process?
even know how to call it. I don't know. But if you
Mm,
stayed here for 7 years or longer and work and pay tax, then you can
mm-hmm.
get the citizenship.
Okay. All right. So,
Yeah, so let's talk about the culture shocks you experienced when you arrived in Nigeria. I know Africa is the same. Many people think that Africa is one country or one thing and we all have the same culture. What they don't know is that every country has its cultures in Africa, and even within the country, there are
mm,
different tribes. Like
mhm.
you and I, we have two different tribes and
Yeah.
different cultures.
Mm-hmm.
So, can you please tell us the culture shocks you experienced in Nigeria?
There are so many. You know, sometimes, like you said, people assume that because you're moving from one African country to the other, that it's all the same. After all, you're all black
Yeah.
people. So you couldn't be wrong. Hey man, it's like Nigeria is a whole, I don't know what to say. It's a whole vibe. There are so many things, from the foods, to the way of life, to the culture, to the way of doing things, even to the size of the country, right? So in Kenya, the longest flight you can take anywhere is 1 hour, right? Is it?
Yeah.
Mombasa, Kisumu, where else can you go for? In fact, it's 45 minutes.
Yeah, true.
Or the longest drive you can take is it 10 hours? Because
10, sometimes 20
going
hours.
to Malaba, that you're the one who is familiar with that area. I think because going to Tanzania is actually shorter than going to Mombasa. It's 5 hours. The Tanzania. To go to Uganda is like how many hours? Is it 10 or 14? I'm not sure.
Around 10 to 14 hours, depending. Yeah.
Right? There are places in Nigeria you'll have to drive for days. Like it's a big country. Like
What?
yeah, Nigeria is almost like 4 times the size of Kenya. Almost.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow, that's crazy. And how's
Yeah.
the population like?
Wow, 200 million people. That's the one that people say. So when you say
Oh
200
my
million
God.
more, it must be more because you think of the days when we used to do census back at home. Were you always counted? No. Think about it. So the estimation or the official record is about 200 million. So there are
Wow.
lots. And then the other thing is like Kenya has, is it 41 tribes?
Yeah. And nowadays I hear there are 44. There's some coming in.
Yeah, but the official is about that. Okay, let's even say 44. In
Mm.
Nigeria, I'm told there are almost 200 tribes because of the sub-tribes.
Wow.
People always think of the most known tribes are Igbo, Yoruba. Which other tribe do you know in Nigeria?
Only Igbo and Yoruba. Those are the most known, actually.
Yes, so there was just things of Yorubas and Igbos, but we have Urobo, we have so many. In fact, there are tribes and sub-tribes. Like Igbo has, I think, it's quite interesting. Like, to be honest, I haven't figured it out, but there are so many tribes compared to us, right?
Hmm.
So it tells me that there's some people who can speak Yoruba and you won't fully understand.
So every tribe has their language.
Every tribe has their language and it has sub-tribes. But the thing that unifies them is pidgin. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah. I
pidgin
think
is
every Nigerian speaks pidgin English.
yes, pidgin. In fact, not only Nigeria but also the West African region. So it's pidgin is so big that even BBC has a pidgin zip channel or something like that. Yes. So there are so many tribes. There are
Yeah,
so many people. The country is so large, compared to us. Like I said, if you want to travel, the farthest you can travel by road in Kenya maybe is 10 hours drive, maybe.
mm-hmm.
Flight is maximum 1 hour. Because even neighboring Ethiopia, I took 1 hour flight. Neighboring Rwanda is
Yeah.
also a half 1 hour. You get in Nigeria, there are places you will travel for that long from one place to the other by flight. So those are
Wow.
then the issue of infrastructure. Um, of course, Kenya has better infrastructure in terms of
Ah, really?
when we think about roads.
Yeah,
Honestly, our infrastructure is really better. Yeah, there's that, and then the issue of cars. Right, in Kenya we
yeah.
do left-hand drive, right, and we get most of our cars from Japan. In Nigeria, it's right-hand drive, and they get a lot of their vehicles from the US or their vehicles from the US. So that means
Or
that
even Europe, because I know of some Nigerians, they buy secondhand cars from here and then they ship them to Nigeria.
yes, is your country right-hand drive?
Is what?
Is it right-hand drive? On which side do you?
No, no, we okay, the driver sits on the left side and we always keep right when driving.
Where do I sit? Oh yeah, it's the other way, left hand. You see, my mind is still yes. So where do I sit when I'm driving? Let me get in the car. Yes, left hand. So in Kenya,
Yeah.
it's drive. In Nigeria, it's left hand drive. Yes, you're
Uh,
correct. My mind. So that is the difference, right? So that means that that was one of the shocks. So I didn't drive for like 2 years when I got here because I was like, I always found myself going to the opposite side of the car. Of the road. The other side, the other thing I really like is that because they import vehicles from the US, the vehicle ranges are amazing. Man, the kind of Nigerians drive, Maybachs, gosh, man, Lamborghinis. It's not common ever in Nigeria. I mean, the area we live, like my neighbors have very nice, very
yeah.
amazing. And then also because they import from the US, it makes vehicles cheaper. It's not like
Uh,
us that get from Japan, it's just ridiculous. Because if you even go to American sites, you can get cars for $5,000, $6,000, $4,000, good cars. In Kenya, when you think of even going to buy, let's say, a Vitz or something, you're not expensive it is. So the variety,
yeah.
also the pricing. That's how you find Nigerians have a lot of cars and different varieties. In Kenya, we always like, oh, Toyota this, Toyota that, Nissan, Honda. Of course, we have Mercedes and BMW. But yeah, Lexus.
Wow.
Here, there are so many types of vehicles and all that. So at first, I just used to be like, whoa, I can't just zoom past. I was like, what car is that? Oh, that's a neighbor. I'm like, what? Then okay, of course, they're not at you see them all the time because also people don't drive them all the time because they are also very local. So it also depends on where the person lives and what they
Mm,
are doing, right? So like,
yeah.
wow, to it, you know.
Mm,
Then of lights, right? You know, in Kenya, how we are so spoiled. Like we have 24 hours light all the time. If they take light for 20 minutes, we are already on Twitter complaining. Here, different regions have different power bands, right? So there's band A, band B, I think up to E, I'm not sure. But luckily,
uh-huh.
we've always lived in band A or B areas, so we don't have a problem of light. But what we've also done is that we have solar. We have installed solar, so we have 24 hours light all the time. The
Wow.
other thing is Wi-Fi.
And what
Wi-Fi,
does this band A band B means? Does it mean that if you are band A, you always have light, and if the
Yes.
farther you go,
Yes. So I find
uh,
it that it's not a very good system because that means then it depends on your financial or where you live, right?
yeah, yeah,
But in Kenya, you get light everywhere. It's anywhere, everywhere. Even Ushago, we have like Ushago is
yeah,
near the
you
area.
have lights everywhere.
So I found that a bit shocking. Then Wi-Fi, the way Wi-Fi to us is normal. Like who doesn't have Wi-Fi? And it's cheap and affordable, right?
Mhm.
Here, not so much. Yes, there are providers, and then our Wi-Fi is fiber. In back in Kenya, here you find all sorts of interesting service providers that you're always fighting with. It's not as good and it's not cheap. In Kenya, we have accessibility to
Wow.
fiber, Wi-Fi, and also it's affordable because, like in Safaricom, last I
Hmm.
checked, I think for about 3K, you can have unlimited internet for the whole month.
Yeah.
And the installation is that they just can put the devices. You're not paying for the device, you just pay for the service and move on. Here, you have to pay for installation for quite a number of things. So in Nigeria, they just can. I mean, in Kenya, they just install and move on. In Kenya, in Nigeria, it's a whole process. So you have to pay for this and this before we come. Quite a number of things. Yeah. Hello, I lost you. So anyway, there is that, and then of course, when it comes to things like the social life is also different. And Nigerians are very, very spiritual. They are very not just going to church, very, very spiritual. In Kenya, I don't say we are not spiritual, but we are not as spiritual as Nigerians. Nigerian
The way
thing
I
is
thought Kenyans are ritual.
spiritual. No.
Yeah.
You only think of people in a particular until you go out and see a different way of. Hey, Nigerians, everything is spiritual. And by the way, you can check out my videos. I've done a bit of videos on some of these different things. Like, Nigerians are super spiritual. They don't take things for granted. I feel like when I was in Kenya, I used to go to church because you go to church on Sunday, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Realize that hey, you can't just go to church for the sake of going marking register. You have to really immerse yourself spiritually because things things are not as easy as they look on face value. The other one is the family structure. Nigerians really value family, really,
Yeah, you
really
told me this. You told me this. Yeah.
they value family, they value marriage, they value children, they take them very seriously. uh, Women want to get married as soon as maybe they finish their degrees, they're thinking of marriage. In Kenya, people are not thinking about marriage or whatever. People are
Mm-hmm.
still building their careers and all that. Here, Nigeria is more family focused, and you find even families living together. In Kenya, people
Uh-huh.
rarely find people living together. Maybe in some tribes, especially, I think your tribes are very generous with like the Luos can stay together. My tribe,
Yeah.
no. Kikuyu, Kikuyu, we don't like people, but we don't overly live communally.
Mm-hmm.
What was the other one? Ask me a question on a particular matter because I'm trailing off. On what
On
particular?
food, because you told me that. Sorry, somebody's just ringing on the door. Let me just open, then I'll come back quickly. But I wanted to ask you something about food because you told me that they have so many different dishes. You did
Yes,
even a
sorry.
video on this. I'm gonna link the video on the description box. I'll be
Yes.
right there.
All right. So on the food in Kenya, we have what we call swallow, like ugali. We rely heavily on ugali, which is corn flour, right? And we eat it with different soups and vegetables. In Nigeria, there are so many types of swallows, right? Swallow is like ugali, corn flour. So we have from cassava, from yam flour, from plantain. So we have amala, we have semo. Semo is wheat based. There's one called wheat. Which other have I? I think there are so many. There's fufu. I'm sure everyone knows about fufu and all that. So the variety is wide. In Kenya, of course, rice also we eat plenty rice. But in Nigeria, there's so many nice rice dishes. You find that in Kenya, maybe somebody will do white rice or pilau. Very popular. It's like our party, our party rice and fried rice. So also our recipes are very Western. Let's be on a lot of them. I'm not saying everyone, but yeah. So our recipes are very Western. Here, people take pride in their food. So every tribe has their specialty foods, and it's very very rich. If it's they have their own soups, and then soup is not just clear soup. Soup is like a lot of vegetables and meat inside. And in Kenya, we probably eat beef or chicken or one type of meat per meal. Here they mix okay, not everything, a lot of things. Like you can have goat and cow in the same stew. There's maybe snail inside. There's chicken. There's fish, and there are also a lot of fish. Right? In Kenya, we have tilapia. So in Nigeria, we have quite a number, maybe even over 100 number of fish. Right? So you find there's croaker, there's tilapia is the least liked. As much as Kenya, we eat a lot of tilapia. In Nigeria, tilapia is you don't have any other fish to eat, And I know, and I know you understand me, Marceline, because you people are the fisher people, fisher.
I know. I watched the video
Tilapia,
and was like, are these people crazy?
in fact, I can count. Maybe I've not eaten tilapia more than 5 times in Nigeria.
Wow.
The first time was in my first year, and I was like, "Oh, I want tilapia." And now I ate it. I said, "Oh, with all that," I was just like, "There are better fishes."
Yeah.
So we have a Kenyan gathering. Sometimes they serve tilapia, but there's so. In fact, even Kenyans say they no longer buy tilapia and they go to the market. There are so many other different fishes. So we have different types of food, and of course, a lot of pepper. We eat a lot of pepper. Like, is food without pepper, right?
I know.
Not food. In
I
fact, like
know.
my youngest, who is 2 years old, says, "Mommy, I want rice and sauce." Sauce is pepper. When you're thinking sauce, it's not think tomato sauce or ketchup. I'm saying pepper. Like, there's habanero inside, there's jalapeno inside. There's different
Yeah, the
types of
jalapenos, I think this is the hottest you can
yeah,
get.
with tomato, of course, and that's what and they're happy to just eat that. Kenyans, even adults, don't eat as much pepper. They don't.
We love these ones. I
Yeah,
bought some last time, and I'm just keeping them outside to dry, and then I'll be
right.
using them. So I once had a neighbor. They were Nigerians, and then they would give, like you're saying, you're 2 year old. They would give
Mhm.
the kids this hot food. Even myself, I would not even eat the food and enjoy it. And I was like, why are they punishing the kids? Why would they give kids so much pepper?
So in fact, so last weekend I was somewhere. So
Mhm.
my husband was with the kids, and he had gone to pick them up somewhere. We had traveled, so they had slept at our friend's place. So the following morning, she was giving them, I don't know, bread and egg. They woke up and said, "No, we want rice and sauce." So like on Sundays, they know they eat like in the morning. I make maybe rice and fish for them in the morning. So today, because I was in a hurry, I just
So
went
that
for
is breakfast.
yes. So because today of this life, and because I didn't realize we had a 1 hour time difference because of time change, so I had to
Yeah.
make like spaghetti with the with meat sauce that has pepper in the morning. So she was like, she gave them bread and egg, anti fried egg. They refused to eat. They don't eat plain egg. If an egg is plain, it's boiled egg. But as long as it's egg, it has to have pepper inside. So she was giving them, they refused to eat. They said, no, no, no. They refused. So it's quite common for children to just start eating, these things from early on. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
That is why they are always strong.
Well, that's why Nigerians are strong. I'm telling you, sometimes I look at the kids and I'm like, I started
Yeah.
eating as a grown up. In India, they are eating pepper as if, in fact, they don't like food without pepper. They find it boring. Mm, yeah, that's why
And
Nigerians are.
how,
Mhm.
okay, how was the transition for you? I know it's much easier because they speak English or pidgin English, so communicating with people around was much easier than if you go to a country like Austria or Germany where they speak a totally different language. How was the transition for you to settle in Nigeria?
So the thing is that, of course, English. Even my mother-in-law, who is 70 something, speaks English. because she was a career woman. So I've not had
Mm.
a problem with communication, but of course, people like now I'm sounding more and more Nigerian, especially when I came before. People, I slow down, and I have to kind of use the accent
The
for them to
accent, yeah.
understand. Because if I speak the way I speak, I used to have a problem. Till date, it happens. So I just find that depending on who I'm speaking to, I have to kind of just, yeah, tone down because of the
Yeah,
accent.
I remember when was that? There's
Mm.
sometimes back I was speaking to you and I'm like, is this woman Nigerian now?
And
Because you are really speaking with pidgin accent.
you have to, because when you live among the people, it's like when you go to the US, you will get an accent. If you go
I
anywhere, you
know.
get. So it's just normal. Otherwise, they'll not understand you, and they'll think that, especially because you're black skinned, that you're forming, like you're feeling yourself.
Yeah, I know, I know.
You just have to, when you go to to Rome, you do as the Romans do. Otherwise,
Yeah,
you'll not be
it's
able to.
true. It's
Yeah,
true.
I still have a challenge, so I always find myself. Am I sounding Nigerian right now?
A little bit, yeah.
So it depends. Amongst Kenyans, you can't hear it. If I'm speaking to my maybe American colleagues, you won't hear it. It depends. It switches. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's normal. That's normal. Even me
Mhm.
sometimes, I lived in Vienna for 9 years, and sometimes when I speak German, because every federal state they have their dialect. It's not
Yeah.
like a very different language. A
Mhm.
dialect, they understand each other, but we just they talk a little bit different. So
Yeah.
when I moved to Salzburg, when I moved to Tyrol, they would just say you came from Vienna because you have the Viennese accent. I'm like, really? Do I have Viennese accent? So it's crazy for me because as a black person, I didn't
Yeah.
even grow up here, and then somebody tells you like you have a Viennese accent.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah. And I totally understand. It's just, I mean, you live somewhere, you adapt, you just adapt.
yeah,
I'm sure for you, you had problems maybe adapting to the food, you know.
yeah. Really, this was a very big problem for me because these people they eat so much bread. They are so I don't know how many types of bread they have. There's black bread, and there's wheat, there's this, there's this. There are a whole different so many breads they have. So when I
Yeah.
came,
Hmm.
mostly the Germans, some Germans and some Austrians, they don't cook in the evening. So what
Mm.
they do, it's called Jause in Austria. In Germany, they call it kalte Platte. So they would
Mhm.
just prepare some bread and then
Mhm.
some cheese, butter,
Mhm.
and so there's so many things to eat bread with. So that is
Yeah.
what they would eat. And when you come
Ah,
from
they
home,
don't know
you are
that
used
in
to
Africa,
eat ugali in the evening.
they don't know that in Africa we take our dinner very seriously. That's the
We eat
heaviest part
ugali
of
in
it.
the evening, and you'll eat two, three, four pieces of bread. I won't get satisfied. I would go to bed hungry sometimes.
By midnight, you're just tossing and turning, and if it's cold, it makes it worse. You can't sleep. It's cold. You're hungry. You're like, what am I doing in this country? Now, I think they do the reverse in, like in Europe, because for us, we eat tea and bread in the morning in Kenya, and then in the
Mhm.
evening when you eat properly. And you eat your dinner maybe at 8, 9 o'clock, sometimes even 10, no problem. So they
Yeah,
do the fast. They say, hey, breakfast like a king. So, and then in the evening, they eat very light. I mean, how do you eat bread and sleep? Ish. No. That's torture.
yeah.
That's torture.
And
Mhm.
also, they have very many different kinds of food. And
Mhm.
sometimes you would eat something,
Mhm.
it doesn't taste good. Like you
Mhm.
have to eat it maybe 5, 6, or even up to 10 times to get
Mhm.
used to this taste.
Yeah.
So there are just some few that I'd like at the beginning, like schnitzel, everybody loves it. And the
Mhm.
sausages, they have also so many, a big variety of sausages, and they all
Mhm.
taste different. So
Yeah.
there is just a variety that I loved. And
Mhm.
then, of course, uh, pommes, or what is it called? Chips. Yeah.
Mhm.
And then a different thing that I realized that vegetables, or even meat in Europe, they don't taste like food at home.
Yeah. Mm. Mm.
They
I get
just taste like sometimes you would eat a tomato. I always say like if you gave me this tomato or paprika, when I
that.
close my eyes, I wouldn't know what I'm eating. because
Mm.
it just tastes like water.
It is.
Even meat, sometimes you are cooking, at home when you're cooking meat, you just get the aroma immediately. But here you are cooking and you might not know even what you are cooking. Sometimes I ask, is this even meat or what is this? Because it doesn't really smell like you are cooking fresh meat.
Is it
So
GMO? Is it because of GMO?
no, in Austria there are some with GMO and some without. So they always state non-GMO, or if they don't state, then you will obviously know that it has GMO. I always try to buy non-GMO food as much as my pocket allow me.
It's
But
more
even
expensive.
sometimes we go for the organic because the Austrian they so much love organic foods. Like
Mm.
every supermarket you go, you'll always find a huge variety of organic foods, and they
Mm.
even have special organic stores where you only find organic food. So
Yeah.
whether you buy it here or there, sometimes you don't feel the difference.
I see. So for me, it's the other way around because in Nigeria and like Kenya, we don't have much GMO. Like I can tell you that it's organic food. You know,
Yeah,
there's a lot of land, so they're able to grow a lot of food. You know, so the food is organic through and through. So if you choose to buy food that's not organic, it's you that has chosen, especially if you're buying in the supermarket, right?
yeah,
Especially the fruits, like the fruits and the berries and those kind of things. They grow them here, but sometimes you may find food from South Africa, from especially because of the shop rights. We have shop rights. There was game, but game also closed down. So because of those kind of supermarkets, of course, there's an influx of foods that may not be very organic. But
yeah.
there's more organic food than non-organic food. If you cook meat here, this is turkey. I mean, the one thing I would miss about Nigeria is the food. Man, the food, my number one thing. I love Nigerian food. The other thing is that also availability of seafood here, especially in the island here. Shrimp, lobster, clams,
Wow.
things are normal. Like if I want to eat shrimp today, I'll eat shrimp today. Not
Did you
like
used to eat seafood when you were in Kenya?
it's very expensive and it's not reachable unless you go to Mombasa. But if I want to eat seafood, I'd go to maybe Serena or Ocean
Mm,
Basket. And we all know how it is. Ocean Basket is South African, right? So you will get the seafood, but it will be a little bit for a lot of money, like it's expensive.
yeah.
Here, you can reach it, it's affordable, you know, it's affordable, any kind. Like last Friday, just recently, we went to dinner and we had big, big lobsters, man. Like it's normal. I feel like lobster today. It's just okay, not normal. Of course, I can't say for every Nigerian. I appreciate that. Yes, not everyone can get
Yeah.
those kind of things at any one time, but at least it's reachable for me. In Kenya, like I said, the best seafood is if you go to Mombasa. Then
Yeah, I know.
you can get calamari and all those things, and shrimp and prawns and all those things. By the time they come to Kenya, it's not everywhere that you find, but here, even in supermarkets, you find the shrimps and all those things. So it's quite reachable. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I know.
Mm.
I remember watching your video about food, and I was like, I have to visit this country.
Your room is ready, but if you'll find even us, we have left this Nigeria. So you better. Yes, you'll enjoy. Food here is you can come here just for food experience, food and culture experience. Nigerians, eh? Nigerians love life.
I know, I know, I know.
Yes. So, yep. Any other question?
Hmm, I don't know what else to ask you. Is there anything you want to tell the audience?
No, the audience. What I can say is that regardless of where you go, as long as you're not in your home country, you'll experience culture shocks. It's not just about you're in Europe, you're in the US, you're in the Middle East, even in African countries, you'll experience culture shocks in varied degrees. We are still getting shocked here and there, but the idea is that you have to adapt to just life wherever you choose. The other thing is that people are always going to Europe and the likes for opportunities. There are also great opportunities within Africa. You have no idea. So the thing is that you just have to ensure that you have the right skill set and you can thrive anywhere. Because even as I'm in Nigeria now, I'm an expatriate. So I'm not getting paid like a local person when I do work, you know. Of course,
Yeah,
and because I'm Kenyan, it's because of course of the skill set. So one thing I'll say is that regardless of where you want to go, make sure that you have a skill set that is globally needed, right?
mm-hmm.
Like not just going there and hoping, It's for example, you're able to succeed really well as a nurse there because it's a skill that's in demand. If you're in Kenya,
Yeah.
not be happy, you'd not be where you are in life. You probably even have
I
changed.
know my brother is a nurse, and I can't even start comparing what I do or what I earn with what he does and what he's going through.
The quality of life, right?
Yeah.
So you just need to know that first and foremost, when you're in your home country, just ensure that you have built your skill set. Don't go and say, I'll go and build my skill set there, because if you go there, you may have to do some jobs that you may not like so much, you know, and you might
Mm.
get in the process. Like I have some friends that went to the US, and you find that they just get caught up in the rat race and they're trying to, you know, um, just work to survive. Before you know it, it's 5 years,
I
and then
know.
you get derailed from what took you there in the first place. You
Mm.
get so don't leave home green. Just ensure that you have a skill set that you can go. Even if you're not able to get to the top in the beginning, you're able to just immerse yourself somewhere in the value chain or in the ladder. So you're not starting Oko from basement. So that helps a lot. Unless, of course, if you're young and you have time, but still, I think it's still important to have, like, I always say, if you're able to do your first degree even in Kenya and maybe some other small professional courses and have a bit of experience, then you have options. You go abroad, you're not having to. But also, it's a different case for everybody. I'm just saying what I would do, if now with what I know. So, and then when you have specialized skill sets, then you can fetch good pay. Like I said, I built my skill set over years. Last year I was celebrating 20 years of working. I started working very young. I was barely 18 when I started working, so I'm not 60. When you say you worked for 20 years, people think you're 62. So I started working straight away. I was barely 18. So over time, I just built my skill set and did what I needed to do. So by the time I was landing here, I'm in demand. Have some
Yeah.
yellow, having like multi-country experience, then people are able to listen to you, because when you look at a problem, you're not seeing it in one way, but you're able to look at it in multi-dimensional ways, right? You
Yeah.
get
True.
it's like now, if you chose to go back to Kenya, you can't be looked at as somebody who's just practicing Kenya. You know, there are so many things that you can actually, and not just Kenya, anywhere in the world. Let's be honest, isn't
Yeah.
it? To actually bring your diverse experience, and that's make sure that you can't earn minimum pay. You can be able to fetch a good income for yourself. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so people should not just think, oh, Nigeria is this. I mean, people are thriving here. If you know the number of Kenyans, and actually there's a video that I did, is it pros and cons of living and working in Nigeria? All the Kenyans who are here have big, big jobs. They are regional,
Wow.
they are country directors, they are the ones I know, to be
Yeah.
honest. Like, unless somebody else came through other means, of course there are people who came, just like there are Nigerians in Kenya who went there via interesting means. There might be, especially, and I know this will sound bad, but maybe some Kenyan women that got married here by some people who I don't know. Those cases, and it's normal. I'm
Mhm.
sure in Australia they are there. you
It
know
is. Yeah.
Kenyans or other nationals that got married to some dubious people, and they are there and their life is not as good. But people who came here knowing what they want to do, they are heads of industries. Like a lot of hospitality industries, big, big hotels
Mm-hmm.
are built by Kenyans.
Wow.
A
That's
lot of,
nice to hear.
so big, the people who work here are not small people. Trust me.
That's
Like
good to hear. Yeah, I know we Kenyans, we are fast, we are sharp. And
the people who are working here, so people should not always think, oh, people is living in Nigeria. And by the way, Nigeria has super wealthy people. So don't think that the standard you think of in Kenya is normal. Karen is normal in Nigeria. It's not normal.
oh,
Yes, I'm not saying normal like, but again, normal is dependent on who is. What I'm
mhm.
saying is that the wealth in Nigeria is is vast. I'm sure you
Wow.
know that. I'm sure you
Yeah, I
know that.
know. I think I have to visit this country sometime very soon.
Yes, so as much as what I like about Kenya is because we are not too okay. The wealth and the poverty and the wealth gap is big, but it's not as obvious as in Nigeria. Nigeria, we have dollar billionaires. You know,
Wow.
we have dollar millionaires. Like it's almost we have people who have homes in the US, in the UK. Like, and you'd not even think those people have, you know, like I can tell you in my estate, we have people who spend half the year in Nigeria, half the year it's normal. A lot of children, by the time they are 17, 18 and clearing high school, they are off to UK, US, Canada, wherever they want to go. It's normal.
Wow.
I'm not saying normal. As I said, when I'm saying normal, it depends on where someone
I understand your point.
I'm just speaking from my point of view as where I
Yeah.
stand. It's a given, like, oh, so and so is in Canada. All right. And next month I'm traveling to Canada to see my second son or my third son. Like there's a friend of ours. In May, she went to the US to see her son.
Mm-hmm.
This month, June, she has a wedding in the UK. Her daughter got married. Then the other daughter, I don't know is in which country. So Nigerians have that, but also it's maybe because they know that if their children stick in Nigeria, the way things are. So people are able to make money and make the life that they want. So because of the family, they think of their children. In Kenya, most of the time, by the time you're 18, it's like get out, as in you're on your own in most families. Let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Because immediately you finish high school, if you go to university, many people don't go back home. They start life,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah.
In
True.
Nigeria, in Nigeria, you're still a child. Like even if you're 20, you're 30, and you need your parents' help, that's what saying they're very heavy on family, you know. And I really like that. So you find that you're 25, 26, you finish your undergraduate, you're in the US and you want to do your masters, your parents will support you if they can. I love
It's
that
like
a
in
lot.
Europe. In Europe, you are a child until you are 30.
In Kenya,
They
I
say
think
adulthood starts at 31.
in Kenya, especially in my language, we say that once you hit 18, you belong to the world. So you need to just go and it's actually true because when I think of myself, the last time I was taken care of was in high school. After that, they don't take my job, you know.
That saying in your language is a true description of how things work in Kenya. Once
Yeah.
you finish high school, I remember I finished high school and I still had some arrears.
Mm.
When I was in school, my parents used to pay the school. After school, the arrears is on your head. It's your problem.
You're on your own, right? So
Yeah.
for us, this one actually are saying that once you're 18, you belong to the world. So you go and figure yourself out. So yeah. And it's a good thing because I think it builds your resilience, you know. So like for me, I said paying rent at was it 20 or 21? Is it? Yes.
Yeah. At some level, I think it's positive because many Kenyans are really mature at a young age and they do stuff by themselves. They always come forward. Yeah.
Yeah. So the thing with Nigeria, that's what I like, that family setting, they don't let go of their child. They're very involved in their milestones when they go to school, graduate, they have children, as in that family setting, like when I started, the first question you
Mm.
asked. So I really like that. And also the standard of living, if you make money, you will live well, as in, wow, the houses are also big. That's the other culture shock. That in Kenya, the standard, the estates. When now I'm talking about estates where like maybe South Bill and just the middle. Is it middle income? I'm not sure. Middle class. I'm not sure.
Mhm.
That it's three-bedroom houses and all that. In Nigeria, I think because of the size of families and all that, I think when it's 4 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 6 bedrooms, 7 bedrooms.
Wow.
Yes, you can get whatever size of house you want.
That one
While
you won't even get in Austria. They mostly have one bedroom, two bedroom. If you get a three or four, that's already a very big house.
you see, so for us standard, even as much, yes, I won't say how many bedrooms our house is, but it's bigger. It's not a house that I would commonly find in Kenya,
Yeah,
unless
so the kids always have enough space to
oh,
play and
they have so much space. They are, and you don't even feel the need for them to go outside. Again, it's really hot outside, so you have their playroom, you have their all those things. In Kenya, unless you build your house, right,
yeah.
your own house to your specifications, or you find someone who built their house and wants to now rent it out. So in
Yeah.
Nigeria, you buy 4 bedroom. Do you want a 4 bedroom house? Do you want a 5 bedroom house? You can rent it easily.
Wow.
Yes.
And how much are the rent
Oh, they're not cheap,
approximately?
and they're not. Yeah, they're not cheap. So you, if you make, like I said, if you make your money, you can. Yeah, you choose the life that you want. But also
Yeah.
depend. But also cheaper than in Kenya. That's the other thing I'll say.
Really?
Yes, yes. Kenya
Wow.
is very expensive. Because for example, for $1,000, what you get in Kenya is maybe an apartment in Kilimani, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
For 3 bed, but in a good, a nice one, right?
Yeah, but that we are talking about Nairobi. I think in Mombasa or even Kisumu is also expensive, even Nakuru too. Mombasa might be a
You
bit
know,
cheap.
some people are you you're calling lupins. Your standard of living is also high. So I'm just speaking in Nairobi. I'm comparing Lagos and Nairobi because they are cities, right? So for
Mm.
$1,000, you'll find, I think, a 3 bedroom house in Kilimani, Kileleshwa. Is it thereabouts?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, right now the dollar is messed, but still for $1,000 you will get better than in Nigeria. You can get a standalone place in the island.
ah,
Again, the rates vary. If you live on the mainland and the island, it's not the same. You know,
yeah. That's true.
that's the thing. It also depends on the area that you're living and the state too. Of course, some states with $1,000 you live like a baller, right? So it depends on where. Like I think it, as anywhere in the world, it depends on where you're living
The
and
location.
the.
That's true.
If you live in a place you have 24 hours light, of course your rents will be higher. Your service charge will be higher. The amenities will be higher. If you live in Lagos, it's not the same as living in Kaduna or another state like that. Just the
Yeah.
same way. If you live in Naivasha, it's not the same as Nairobi. If you live in Lamu, it's not the same as Nairobi. So there are different factors. But one thing that is common is that Nigerians big houses. Ah, it's not like those small houses that because there's space, there's land space, so they're generous with their space.
And even with their population, they still have enough space because
Yes.
yeah, maybe the map is deceiving us because if you look at this, you can't even imagine the kind of population that they have.
Ah no, Nigeria is hey. Nigeria has so many. Lagos alone has almost 50 million people. How
Uh,
much is the population of Kenya? Is it not almost that
40 something million, I think.
Lagos alone has 40-50 million people. So
Wow,
basically, the population of Lagos is the population of Kenya.
that's
Easily.
crazy.
Easily. So those are a lot of things to kind of get used to. And then like when you look at the churches, the capacity of the churches compared like now, when I think the biggest churches that I've ever been to, it's
Hmm.
probably six ministries, the one on Valley Road and the one in Karen. Those are the big ones. Or All Saints, All Saints Cathedral. Those are standard
Hmm.
size churches in Nigeria, you know.
Yeah,
So you begin to just see the dimensions of the real estate and the population. Yeah.
and the churches get full.
Eh, and they have like services. Like I think there's the video I did a very short video of maybe a Sunday in church. That was like the second service, and you can see we're already sitting upstairs and it's full.
Yeah, I
And,
saw the video.
and there are like 3 services. So you can imagine.
Wow,
Church has how
that's
many
crazy.
our church has how many expressions, how many other in Lagos alone we have like I think four. So you can
Wow.
imagine. So you can imagine the
Oh,
size of the church and then people, yeah, the population and the land size is big, yeah. Mm. Mm.
okay, I think we are going to wind up now.
Yeah.
It was nice having you on board and nice seeing you again.
Yeah. It felt like a chat, only that now we've invited other people in. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'm gonna leave a link to your YouTube channel for the people to follow you. And yeah,
I
maybe
really yes, I think
can
it's
do
important.
another video another day.
Yes, I think it's important for people to know that relocating is not just to the west. You can also move to the within your continent and make something of yourself. And that culture shocks are real regardless of wherever you are. And the opportunities everywhere. And it's always good to do your research on where you're going. And that's why some of us are having the conversations that we're having, so that whoever is thinking of moving, they're kind of prepared. Some of us were not prepared by anybody, you know. Some
Yeah,
people
I know.
get shocked and get depressed, and that's why you find that people relocate and maybe get depressed, they get stressed, and they go and die. No, people should talk about their experiences more, so that you kind of prepared. You say, me, if I can't go and this paper, I can't move to Nigeria. Oh, if I don't like this, I can't move to Austria. Oh, I'm not willing to learn German. You will not survive if you don't go and learn German. So yeah, people just need to be better prepared. So we are not doing this for. I think it's important. It's just a way of educating people. There's no
Yeah, to
point like
let people know,
people.
to widen
Yeah,
their horizon, because it's not just always about many people want to go to the US or the UK.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. The opportunities everywhere.
yeah.
Yeah. So nice speaking to you.
It was nice having you.
All right.
Okay, bye.
Bye bye. All right. Cheers.
Bye.